Hello and welcome to the third video I'm doing. In this video I'm hoping to go over how to look at and analyze a map that you either never played on or just how to analyze a map so you can enhance your own play. The first map we're going to look at is Agria Valley, and I'm not going to go through every map because that'd take forever and be exceptionally boring. Instead, I'm going to try and just locate some key features for you to look for, and so you can do this for every map on your own. Agria Valley, if you have never played on this map, is pretty small. It has 2 island expansions. The mains are mirror positions. The gold bases are blocked by rocks, and you have 2 middle bases, which are thirds. So for this map, things that I look for is how short is the distance to the enemy base. And your units are going to go, if you spawn in the 12 o'clock, go out your ramp, up this one, down that ramp, around, and up. And basically, what that will do is if your opponent is Terran, they can position a whole bunch of tanks up here, get free shots. This base is going to be the last one you see before you get to the main base. And overall, just moving across the map is generally a bad idea, simply because of the way the map is. The natural base has an incredibly wide choke, which is going to mean fast expanding is going to be pretty difficult to defend, or at least a wall off with buildings, a SimCity, is going to be difficult to accomplish. You're not going to get a whole lot of a choke. You're going to need a fair amount of static defenses, probably 3 spine crawlers, cannons, or bunkers to defend this area. The island expansions means you need to have eyes on these, because if you do not, you're going to have no idea if your opponent expands there. So it's worth your trouble to put an observer on each one, scan frequently if you're Terran, or definitely put an Overlord with creep on those islands, so that we can just see if they're there. But the island expansions should always be treated like your opponent has a base there, so just be aware of maps that have islands, and Desert Oasis has islands like this as well. We'll hit that map as well. But key features to look for on this map, or at least that I look for, how your units attack move to the enemy base, how open the natural expansion is, and where the third base is. The third in this case is either going to be the gold bases or these 2 middle bases. The third is going to be extremely hard to actually take, but once you get it, it's going to be fairly easy to defend because it's on a raised platform. So that's just that thought for this map. We'll look at Jungle Basin real quick, because it also has a third. It has a hidden natural base, which means you don't have to worry about it so much. You can very safely do a 14 expand or 15 expand and not have to worry a whole lot about your second base. The third base is extremely vulnerable because it's not on a raised platform. Well, it is from the sides, but from a attack move command, it's going to be on even levels, and it's going to be difficult to defend both your second base because of the destructible rocks here and here. You can't you can defend both entrances, but it's just going to be difficult. It extends your line of control to be a very wide arc. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to take a third base on this map. A also decent option for third might be the side bases, simply because you have just a neater arc of control rather than this huge arc. You just have along the edge instead of through the middle. The path for an attack move command is out the ramp, across the raised platform, down, and then up. So features for this one: a hidden second base, which is very easy to defend, destructible rocks, third base out in the middle of the boondocks, and a relatively straightforward attack command. Blistering Sands, we'll do this one. The choke on Blistering Sands is very small. You can wall it off with buildings easily, which means you can be pretty safe with a quick expand. But you have to be aware of your rock backdoor. This is unique to Blistering Sands. You just have to know that it's there and pay attention to it. The third base is actually, if you spawn at the 7 o'clock position, is going to be up here or the gold. Either one is a good choice, but this base down here is going to be a fairly bad choice. Or, depending on the way your opponent is playing, it might be a good choice. It's just again, how you want your zone of control to be. If your third is this gold, you own pretty much this middle of the map here. If this is your third, you own pretty much this zone of control. And this is slightly harder to defend because your enemy just goes near, and that's a shorter attack path than even if they went around over here. So features for this map to look for: small choke, easy to defend natural, and the third is also relatively far away from your opponent. Let's do something really fun. I've mentioned Scrap Station a few times. This is a Zerg favorite map according to the forums. The island expansion should always be treated like it's been taken because it is an island. A lot of players tend to go for this far away gold base because it's really far away from any natural attack path. The natural is tucked away, easy to defend. You can do a fairly simple sim city here, but you do have the rock back entrance. Have to be aware of proxy barracks, proxy anything on the raised ledge. You can treat it like an accessible Lost Temple ledge. You also have the rocks you can destroy in the middle. So just features to look for: a tucked away defensible natural, island expansion, and expansion that nobody really looks at. Xel'Naga Caverns. In this map, your natural base is really open to attack, but it's meaning you can't really take it very early unless you want to risk it. A third base is definitely should be this lowered area over the gold, simply because the gold is going to be significantly harder to defend. However, this depressed area is also really easy to attack, so you have to have your standing army somewhere in this loop, which means you would be easy for you to take this gold. But if you jump from the main to the natural to the gold, you open up this entire arc you have to control, as well as this entire area, as well as this area. So it's harder to defend unless all your units are clustered up here, in which case your flanks are entirely open. So features to look for on this map: just really the third. Where do you want your third to be and how that will affect you. Other good maps: Lost Temple, Metalopolis, Shakura's Plateau. This is a new one. This map I've come to enjoy a lot. It is impossible for you to spawn in close positions, so if you spawn on either of these bottom, your opponent will not be mirror on the top. So if you spawn here, your opponent is only going to be on one of the far positions. If you spawn up here, your opponent is going to be only on one of the far positions. Things to look for in this map: the second base is very easily to defend. However, Shakura's Plateau reintroduced the rock backdoor entrance. However, you can also grab a easy to defend third base here if your opponent is in cross positions. Third base is hey, look, an achievement! Yay! Another achievement! Yay! Third base can be here. I prefer this base up here for a simple reason. If you take this base, you're vulnerable from across the valley siege tanks and colossi. If you take this base, you're still relatively secure. Your zone of control hasn't changed a whole lot. You add pretty much this base to your zone when you take this base, and this area here and this little rocks cluster, which you've always been responsible for. And that's really that. Xel'Naga towers are in the middle. Features to look for on this base: defensible natural, rock backdoor, where's your third going to be, and how that will affect you. You can see the common ways I look at maps. Is my natural going to be safe? What do I have to worry about? And how is my third going to affect the game? That's really all the 1 vs 1 maps. So we'll do something fun. Warzone. This happens to be one of my favorite 2 vs 2 maps. You have a shared base with this map, which means you have a greater combined force in an area. However, there are 3 entrances: rocks, rocks, main entrance, rocks, rocks, main entrance. So you have to have eyes on all 3 areas, which means it would actually be alright for both of you to expand quickly, because this is a really large map. And if both of you expanded at 14 if you were Zerg, well, Zerg, then you get eyes on your side entrances really quickly, but you have to be aware of those. The third base, only one of you is going to get, and then you have the gold bases and the no man's land. The gold bases are worth your trouble to get because they are actually fairly easy to defend. You just have to watch out for big pushes down the middle if you take the periphery bases. Last map I'm going to do for this is my favorite. This is my home map. It is the IC Cup, Violet Heights. This is my playground. I love this map. Key features for this map: easy to defend, second. This is a drop point for your opponent, and there's one up here as well. I set my status to busy, didn't I? Oh. You can grab a really quick third. Your fourth is blocked by rocks. The gold bases are out in the middle of nowhere. You have to send scouts to those to see them. Xel'Naga towers here and here, as well as here and here. So you can get a good view of the map using the Xel'Naga towers. This map is pretty large, and you have multiple attack paths. So key features to look for on this map: the second is really easy to defend. You need eyes on this back door. Where's your how quickly do you want to take your third? How quickly do you want to take your fourth? Do you want to take the gold? And how quickly or how much effort do you want to put into controlling the Xel'Naga towers? So that's really just the map, my map analysis for you. Just figure out how your style of play works. Like, I'm very macro intensive, so maps like this one I don't like because you have the very short flying distance. I like being able to take lots of bases, have lots of room to maneuver, because this is short air distance and pretty much 2 zones to fight for on the land. So just figure out your own style of play, and then you can develop a technique for deciding on how you want to work on maps, and what maps will favor your style of play and what kinds of maps will not favor that. And you can just look at maps for a few minutes and then figure out, well, this looks like a strong point, this looks like a strong point, this is a weak point, and just so on. Hopefully this has been somewhat useful for you. For me, for macro style, look at where the second is, look at where the third is. I guess the third is up here, and just go from there. Because, going back to the first video, every base you take changes the contours of your zone of control, and that's really what I'm most concerned about as a player myself. So hopefully you can analyze maps better. Again, more details in the text below.